I just found out something crazy about healthcare in America. Bernie Sanders made a tweet recently asking people if they've ever had to pay money for surgery or hospital visits, even though they have insurance. And someone replied and said they had to pay $6,000, even though they have insurance. $6,000 deductible. And I've realised that in America there's a lot of high deductibles with plans there, and that means she had to pay $6,000 just before the insurance pays any of it, covers any of the cost. These deductibles defeat the whole purpose of insurance, in my opinion. You might make a counter argument that, well, how else are they supposed to make their money then? Well, if you're gonna, it obviously makes sense, like insurance companies, businesses, and their whole idea is to, make as much profit as possible, and in the process of making as much profit as possible, they obviously want to spend as least as possible on healthcare. But there's a real problem right there. Healthcare is an issue that you can't just, have how much money you're going to spend, dictating what kind of care people get. That's a big part of the problem, and to me it just doesn't mix, this whole idea of, free market business, trying to make as much profit as possible. You're only asking for trouble when you mix that in with healthcare. So yeah, and it's really bizarre. Like I knew healthcare in America was already that bad, but I didn't really realise the extent of these huge deductibles. I already knew a bit about deductibles in general, any insurance, but yeah, it's just insane. And that's what happens when you have lack of regulations. People can make the argument, they want the private sector to run healthcare, but these people should at least agree upon that. There should be some regulations. Private insurance companies aren't allowed to charge deductibles at all, really. There should be some limits and regulations. Even from these libertarian types. You can't just have a total free-for-all, laissez-faire system when you're talking about people's health and livelihoods. It's just crazy. And I'm surprised that a lot of people seem to accept it. I don't know if it's Stockholm Syndrome or whatever, but in America, a lot of people just seem to feel it's the norm. I don't know whether it's because a lot of people there haven't travelled or what, but they don't realise that most other developed countries have a system way better than that, where you don't have to worry about deductibles, and you don't have to skip getting treatment because you fear spending so much money or going broke. I think that's what frustrates me the most. When you see a population, many people just having, I don't know if it's denial or what, but they just seem to go along with it and, accept it, and they don't even see what the problem is with the system. They seem to like getting raped in the ass, with high premiums and high deductibles, and it just doesn't make sense to me. And also, this is another thing, it's so crazy how American healthcare, it runs through the employer, so you get health insurance from the employer, whereas in other countries, you just buy private insurance yourself. You buy it, sign for yourself, like car insurance or whatever. You don't get it through an employer. To me, that's just insane, because people Americans even factor in, like once they apply for jobs, they wonder, part of the, decision-making process is, what kind of healthcare does this employer provide? And there's a lot of people that stay in jobs that, they either don't like or, it's not feasible to be in. And then they stay in the job just because of the health insurance, which is, nuts. Like in a lot of other countries, it's whether you like the job, is it, is the environment good, is the money good, you don't even factor the, what healthcare you're getting, that's not even on the table. It's just, what makes me angry is people just accept it. They don't even see the problem with it. I'm sure there's a lot of Americans listening to this, well, what are you droning on about? It's not a big deal. It's great, like they're in denial about it. I don't understand what the rationale is, especially from the right wing and Republican types. Democrats are bad as well, they're all bad, but like on healthcare, the Republicans, they're just in total denial about, they push a lot of ideologies, rather than facts when it comes to healthcare. It's just totally bizarre. Like the whole mentality in the States, like by many people, is just insane when it comes to healthcare. And there's got to be a major turnaround, like Bernie Sanders makes a lot of great points on the issue. Like he's injecting real issues, and it's reaching the mainstream, and people are really, starting to get on ball on it, but, there's still many that are not, and they just don't even see what the issue is, like they don't even value healthcare, like health is probably the second most valuable resource you have after time. Like time is the most valuable resource and health is second, but it seems like a lot of Americans don't even value health that much. You can tell by many of the people's diets there. Like there's certain states in America, like in the Midwest parts, I'm not talking about all of the Midwest, but there's certain areas where a lot of people don't even eat veggies, hardly at all. They just eat meat, barbecue stuff, and their diets are just totally off whack, and they don't even see the problem with it, like they just keep living their lives in denial, and they don't value their health. And I don't understand, like I don't know if the mentality with a lot of these places is, like try to be as unhealthy as you can, or like as if that's a worthy goal. I don't really understand it. Rant over.